Bienvenidos al show de Katica Living Vibrantly. ¿Cómo están ustedes esta noche? Estamos tan contentos que ustedes están con nosotros en el show para disfrutar un show increíble. Esta noche tenemos una invitada muy especial. Se llama Lydia Smith. Hi, Lydia.
Hi. Hola.
Hola. Lydia es una terapista y mucho más que vamos a aprender de ella, especialmente un movimiento que se llama Thai Yoga. Entonces estamos muy orgullosos de tenerla aquí, que nos va a enseñar y ustedes pueden aprender cómo hacer este movimiento para mejorar diferentes dolores que ustedes pueden tener en su cuerpo. Entonces pónganse bien cómodos, cojan su agüita tibia con limón, and here we go.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Bienvenidos otra vez al show de Katica Living Vibrantly. Estamos tan contentos que ustedes están con nosotros esta noche. Acuérdense que ahora tenemos el show bilingüe, entonces vamos a hablar un poquito en inglés, un poquito en español para compartir con Lydia Smith, que estamos tan contentos que ella nos va a mostrar y enseñar este movimiento de Thai Yoga y mucho más. Dejan que ustedes vean su website. Y vamos a poner el website ahorita en el show para que ustedes puedan aprender un poquito más de los movimientos que ella enseña. Ya ha ayudado a tanta gente con esos movimientos. So, hi Lydia, we're so happy to have you.
Thank you. I love that I'm here.
Oh, and you're so vibrant. I love this because you are such a beautiful person, and what you do, you've helped so many people through your healing modalities, and like we were talking before, you allow the space to open, and oh, it's just amazing what you do. So we're excited to get started and see how you can help all of us feel better.
Okay, great.
So tell us, how did everything start?
I've always been interested in moving and movement.
Uh-huh.
I grew up in West Africa in Ivory Coast because my parents are missionaries there. Mm-hmm. They still are.
That's amazing.
And I grew up in a third world culture. Mm-hmm. Whatever that means, because
right.
To me it was normal. I moved to France. Our family moved to France when I was 2, and I came back to the States when I was 16.
Wow.
So I was surrounded by other cultures and like this vibrant, rich lifestyle of like so welcoming.
Wow.
And like so much music and so much movement, and I loved being around that.
Mm-hmm.
So it gave me a really good background for understanding culture and
mm-hmm.
and how to live, and how so many people live so differently and yet each so richly within their culture.
Right.
I keep saying culture,
but
yeah,
because that's the experience. It's within what they are, what their environment is.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
and over the years I've had my own health concerns, and you know, each family, we all have our own health things, and I had seen that for me, doing things with the medical system didn't always get exactly what I needed
right.
from it. And over the years, especially after college, I started finding more out about alternative and holistic methods, and keyed in right away to, wow, these are from other cultures around the world. I'm so excited to learn about this, even just from the cultural aspect. And with all the travels I did in college and before mm-hmm. that, I really was interested in it. And a few years after college, I realized I want to learn yoga. I want to learn how to move. And that took me to above Cabo San Lucas in Mexico. And I went to a school, Yandara Yoga Institute, which is amazing.
Okay, hold that thought, because before we get into the school, I want to show our viewers a little clip so they can understand a little bit of what Thai yoga is. And of course, we'll have a live demonstration here in the studio. But let's have Chris roll that for us. Well, that was pretty neat. I mean, all those images and clips and gave us a little bit more of a taste of what you do, Lydia. So tell us, okay, let's take it back to Cabo San Lucas and how you started there with your education.
So I started learning yoga because actually I originally wanted to learn it so I could dance because I had done dance in college and I loved it.
Loved it.
And like I said, growing up in West Africa around the drums and all the dance that they did there was magical to me. And I've always been drawn to that. So I did yoga and then was there for a while as staff. And then I was like, I really want to learn more. And so a couple years later, I found out about the New Mexico School of Natural Therapeutics in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I went there for my massage therapy training and again loved it because they really emphasized like understanding the body through your body and through your experiences. And we got to touch on so many different aspects from different cultures again of healing and alternative medicine.
It's interesting how it's come into play from your childhood into your adulthood and how everything's just been so interwoven. You know, and unfolding, you know, little by little. It's like it was like a little mat for you and amazing, and that you incorporate that strong desire or that enjoyment of dancing too. So it's interesting to see all this come together.
And it's been fun too. At the time, yoga, massage, I found out about something called Thai massage or Thai yoga. And I heard that it was a combination of massage and yoga and meditation. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I love moving. This is great.
And with the yoga behind you.
Already the understanding of moving and then bringing in the massage that I had gotten trained on and started working with clients, it seemed like the perfect next step. And like you said about the cultures and growing up traveling and all that, it's been so fun to learn systems of healing that even when I'm in one location, like in the US, I'm traveling. Like I'm traveling using my body and the experiences by understanding where things come from around the world and how we can, just like this country, you know, the melting pot that we call this country, Thailand, where Thai yoga comes from, and you'll see a demo soon, was a melting pot for healing. And in ancient times, it was a center of trade. So they were open enough and smart enough to say, all the best healers teach us, we'll incorporate it into our medicine. And that's one of the powers behind the work and why it's so holistic is because it's actually come from so many different places, like Greek medicine, Unani, Islamic medicine, Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, like so many different cultures are even within the Thai. And I think that, again, that's why I'm so pulled to it.
And that makes a difference in also the result, I imagine. You know, you see this empowerment happening as we were talking, sometimes even after the first session, you were saying. So when we get our volunteer in here, Luciel, so we can get started in some of these demos, because what Lydia has showed us today, it's just blown our minds. It's just amazing. So I'm excited to share with you guys so that you guys can see how amazing these movements are and how much how much better she felt after the first session that she had here with Lydia. So get you nice and comfy and have the music on so we can enjoy and experience the session. So tell us.
So, one of the things I love about Thai yoga that I learned in the tradition, and it also incorporates into why I loved the yoga school in Yandara and why I love the school in New Mexico for massage, because all of them, the underlying idea was it's about who you are, not what you do. It's about who you are as a yoga teacher that connects to other people and enables them to see the connection within their own body to move. And in massage, it's about connecting to the person, allowing them to see a space where nature can heal them, their bodies and their own selves. And in Thai yoga, there's what's called a concept called Promivihansi, which is allowing yourself to come to the four boundless states of love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. So the basis of all of this is Promivihansi. Everything else, like Dr. James, who I learned from, his teacher said, is window dressing.
Really?
It's just meant to kind of make us feel good in the process, but everything happens with the intention of love and with compassion.
And that's when the true transformation takes place.
Yeah. When you're able to allow an agreement be made between you and another person, it becomes exponentially powerful. Even if it's between you and yourself or the part of yourself that didn't believe it at first or think it could happen. So with that concept, there's the idea of puja, which is closely related to namaste in a yoga class, where I place my hands on the client or the person in front of me, and I just allow myself to be present with them and send the intention of healing, send the intention of may you be well now. And in the trainings that I teach trainings anywhere from 16 hours to 200, and I learned it from the school, the Thai Yoga Center in Plant City. In these trainings, you learn the background and the context behind everything and how it plays out and how you can kind of take it step by step to understand, like, how do you actually become present with someone? How do you learn that within yourself?
Right. How do you... I imagine it must be difficult at first to just focus on what you're doing versus what's the other thoughts coming into your mind, because all day you're thinking, and so there's got to be that discipline, I imagine. Yeah,
it's definitely just like anything we want to grow or learn in our lives. There needs to be a motivation coming usually from an emotional place and a way to make it happen.
Right.
And then when it doesn't, to be okay with it and just keep going.
Right.
Depending on how much we want it.
So right now you're just connecting with Lucielle?
Yeah, so I did a little bit of puja. You can do puja anywhere. It's traditionally started with them face up and you place your hand on the belly. But because we're starting face down, I just did it on her back. I place my foot gently on her sacrum and I start rocking, and this is called a master release. So it's called a master release because of how much power there is in this movement. It looks very simple.
Right,
and it's pretty simple for me to do as long as I have balance and I'm not putting a lot of pressure. What I'm doing essentially is finding her body's flow and natural rhythm. And some people, their natural rhythm is a little bit slower, some people a little faster. But over time, if we were to both stand up and just look at her spine and look at her back, after a certain amount of time, you'd see way more movement.
Really?
Because it's allowing the body to start settling more and more into deeper layers of relaxation.
Wow.
So
it's actually allowing you to do the movement in a way.
Yeah.
And that way it's almost allowing the body to relax itself further.
Yeah, and like I said in the first show, I see myself more as a facilitator than anything else, because all I'm doing is reminding the body that it can be healthy, that it can relax. And we forget over time.
Of course.
We forget how to relax, even the word, we're like, relax. And we want to...
That's true.
I need to be more relaxed. We want to allow it to be
it's Monday. Be relaxed.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure you have a lot of clients come in on Monday. Help us, Lydia. Help us. We want the sacred movement.
What I really, really like about the Thai yoga is in massage school, we learned how to listen with our hands. And in one of the first classes, I started feeling things, and I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm in kindergarten, and I'm learning a new language, like
wow,
through the hands, and I'm so excited to like get to high school. Right.
Imagine the process was exhilarating.
Because there's, like, I felt so much information that I didn't understand at the time, but I knew over time I would learn it.
Right.
Just like in any other language.
Right,
Because I grew up learning French, for example. And so I knew that it could happen. I've done it before, and this was just a little more nonverbal.
And so right
I'm gonna
now,
have
what you're
you
doing
turn
is
over.
just keeping the movement so that she can continue
What I was
to relax.
doing up the back, it was allowing there to be a little more relaxation along the muscles of the spine.
So you actually can sense the tension once you're doing this movement.
Yeah, so in massage school, we learned so much from the hands, and we learned a little elbows, forearms, things like that. But then when I started learning the Thai yoga, it was more about how do you listen with your whole body.
Right.
This Thai yoga is actually, it was carried along by the monks, and this was called their moving meditation.
Really?
So that was actually the point for them, as well as carrying on the lineage, and they were the healers. They also were the martial artists, so they taught both in Thailand. And what I like about that is there's a lot of incorporation of martial arts in Thai yoga. This is more of the yin or healing aspect of it. But in martial arts, one of the key things is body mechanics, or how to move your body and leverage your weight versus someone else's, and speed and movement. And I can do the same thing with a client. So as I work on anyone, and I can do any age, any weight, any flexibility, any health, I just move my body according to where they're at. So
Wow.
it doesn't, like, you don't have to be smaller than me, or, you know, I've worked on people that are larger than me, just body type or weight or whatever,
And
and they're like, I don't know if you can do it. And
Right.
I'm like, no. As long as I'm present with my breath and going through the correct body mechanic motions, it's fine.
It's quite a workout for you, though, right?
Again, because so much of it happens through the breath
Right.
and through understanding, like, you can get a really hard workout in yoga, and if you're using most of your muscles, you're going to be sore and tired at the end. But if you can get into a flow and understand the breath and the flow of movement and breath combination, then at the end, you just almost feel like more open and alive.
Wow.
And so it's an exchange between the person on the mat and me. And it, you know, I had one client recently at the end, she was like, this feels like we were dancing together.
Oh, what a beautiful compliment.
Because as I move, she is working on being relaxed in every position and letting go. Because the more she lets go, the more can open, the more I can open her joints and tell her body, this is how you can move healthy.
Right.
Because
You're showing the body that it is possible.
it's possible.
To remember.
And
that-
so many people have come in, especially in the last year, and been like, I've tried everything, nothing works, or the doctor said there's no cure, or, you know, I don't diagnose or anything like that, but I'm consistently surprised by what the body can do. I mentioned previously that I worked on my sister's mother-in-law, and she got migraines from the time she was like 15 till her early 50s, and I had maybe done one session on her before, and there was a point where she had a lot of back pain and was hunched over. So much back pain in her lower back. So I was like, well, I'll work on, if you want, I can do a session on you, you know. It wasn't even very long, maybe 45 minutes, and her back pain ended up going away, and she never got a migraine again.
Never again?
So,
Wow.
again, I wasn't going to predict that.
Right.
But for whatever reason, whatever movements that we did together, she was able to let
release,
it go, to release whatever the strain or the tension was.
Wow.
And
That's amazing because it was lifelong.
it was something that
pain.
she had suffered with, and her body had held on to it for so many years, and it was finally able to be released.
That's quite a testimony.
And in the training I do with clients, I work under a private membership organization, and under that I'm able to give nutritional advice. I'm able to teach yoga postures so that you have homework and you can work on something outside of home. But I had a client who came, and she had said, this is pretty awesome, she got migraines, and her doctor actually said, take B vitamins. And she started taking them, and it like reduced her migraines by like over half.
Wow. I've
So
read about the
even
B vitamins before.
Just understanding, and that was awesome because I was able to say, can I tell other clients who
Right,
might get
of course.
about that, and kind of transfer the information to the next person? She's like, totally, if it helps, whatever.
Right, exactly.
So for one person it was nutritional, and another person it was physical, structural.
Amazing. The body knows.
Yeah.
I think it's just giving an opportunity to work with people like yourself to help us understand more of our body. That's what it is. We just don't have an understanding, as you were explaining about the families in Thailand, how they, from a very early age, understand this kind of movement and this kind of discipline and how important it is in their life structure.
Yeah, and my sister lived in Thailand for
Tell
2.5
us about that.
years. She studied a little towards the end with Dr. James, who's the head of the school in Plant City.
Wow.
If
awesome.
you want to know more about where I trained, it's thaiyogacenter.com, and it's called the Somaveda College of Natural Medicine. So you can actually get associate's degrees, bachelor's, and even doctorate degrees and master's degrees there in natural medicine and healing, indigenous and traditional healing, and things like that. She was on a trip with him in Thailand, and they went into a village, and the mom, she got on the mat, and the mom brought the kids around. One of them was like 2 or 3, and she just directed them into moving, into doing the Thai yoga on my sister. And
Oh, I bet your sister was astounded to see these little kids around her.
And it made so much sense to hear stories like that, because, like, touch is a natural human it's an innate ability.
Right.
But we forget, and we get lost in the beauty and the awesomeness, for example, of technology and all this stuff that keeps moving fast. We forget what things got us to this point.
That's so
And
true.
communicating from nonverbal perspectives is huge, because it brings us
And we forget that.
it brings awareness to our own body, but also how to relate to our environment at a non-verbal level. Because so much of technology is visual and verbal, but what about our senses? And, we stimulate our senses here and there, but, like, just touching someone on the physiological level allows you to relax. At the nervous system level, you switch from sympathetic to parasympathetic, so you all of a sudden relax. So there's little things on Facebook that go in and out, but one of them is cool. It's if you hug for 20 seconds or longer, you start getting a therapeutic benefit to your body.
Yes, I've read
because
that.
it's relaxing it. And it really is, like, I see this, like I said, a client sees this as a dance. I also see it like we're kind of hugging.
Right, it's true.
You know what I mean? Like, we're connecting through touch and through this understanding where we don't have to talk.
Right.
And I've had clients come and say all the things that are wrong with them at the beginning of the session, and then they get on the mat, and I'm like, your body's kind of happy. I don't tell them maybe till after, but a lot of it might be their perception. And or I start working on something they never mentioned, and afterwards they're like, wait, I didn't tell you about that. And it's just because if we're in a state of listening with our whole body and just being present and breathing, there's so much that we can listen and hear.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that reciprocal exchange between you and the client. That's so important too.
I mean, it starts, like I said, with puja. So it starts at this place where you're connecting to their breath, you're connecting to their energy, if you want to call it, to them being present. And in that time, I'm also connecting to how present am I with my own body. Because I love your thing, living vibrantly. When we live vibrantly, we're living from a bigger place than just one particle, like, oh, I have to live healthy.
Right.
That if we put it in a container, how is it going to translate to the rest of our life and allow us to live beautifully
Absolutely.
and healthy and vibrant? So many clients have come to me after a series of sessions and said, it wasn't one thing. Well, I thought it was going to be one thing, but it was so many things. And it's because it is.
You're
like,
right,
when
exactly.
we live healthy, it's because we're doing so many different things to bring it in. And
You're balancing all those things. You know?
and what I love about sessions is it helps clients to see what they love and what they're interested in. Because again, we want to live vibrantly, and vibrant usually means happy.
That's right.
Or loving or joyful. So it's hard to live vibrantly and be stressed and tense all the time and feel like I have to take this 2-hour run this morning. But if it's something joyful and like, oh my gosh, I can dance, and then all of a sudden you're doing
You're
a lot of
shifting
movements.
to another experience altogether. So that's
Take
so
a deep breath
important.
in and exhale.
And she's very relaxed, Lucille.
This is our second time.
Yeah, she's loving it. How do you feel her different from the first time? Do you feel less tense, more?
Well, I like to call like just on the physical level. So I want to say Thai yoga is done on so many different levels. It's based similar to traditional Chinese medicine, where it's an energetic-based medicine. So every movement is meant to balance and integrate different parts of the body. So I'm working on balancing and connecting like the shoulder to the knee. So they remember they're working together and not separate from each other. So as that happens, and as these connections are made, the client, from my perspective, allows me to do more. They are way more relaxed, and they just can let go way quicker and easier. So even from the first show till now, Lucielle has allowed me to do more with her body as far as being relaxed in the movements, and which is like amazing, because each person we come in with whatever we're holding on to.
Right.
And I like to think just on the physical level that it's a training of the nervous system. So you can think of it as neuromuscular re-education.
Wow.
So that how the nerves work with the muscles and just re-educating. We're taking out what's unneeded so that everything that is already vibrant can come forth. And anything that's alive and already moving, because life is movement. Death is still and stagnant.
Exactly.
So
life
as
is
we
meant to be
live-
vibrant.
Yeah.
And vibrancy has that movement. It's just, I think it's a very normal, like we were talking before, it's very innate. It's just sometimes, I think with our society and what we've talked about, it's something that we have to remember and teach ourselves and help and get that assistance from facilitators like yourself, and so that we can continue to incorporate that in our life, and not all the stress and tension that our society tends to put on us, just because it's just how we live in the Western society. So it's
one of the questions that a lot of people ask me when I do demos or anything else is, well, it's called Thai yoga, but how is this like yoga or different than yoga? How is it like, because it's also called Thai massage or Thai yoga massage, how is it different or the same as massage?
right.
As you can see, you might think of it as massage because she's on the mat and I'm moving her around. There are more exchange versions where it's almost more like partner yoga, where she's actually doing something and I move with her. But this is the majority of the work I do. And it's similar to yoga because if you've been paying attention, if you've gone to yoga classes, you'll see that some of them, like I did pigeon on her, or tree, this is tree pose. So it's like the yoga poses you might see in class, but the word yoga in Asia covers a way more large perspective of what healing is. It's not just going to a class.
Like it is here.
Yeah.
Right.
For them, like you go to college or medical school and you learn Ayurveda, which is
The Indian-based.
the Indian-based medicine, which is also a huge part of Thai medicine. And there's 8 limbs, so you're learning pharmacology, you're learning like pediatrics, you're learning all these things.
Amazing.
And so there's so many different aspects, if just coming down to it. And in the training, we learn that. We learn it from a holistic perspective. And so you might go to one yoga class and it's like power, a lot of exercise and getting your muscles in shape and that, and then you go to and it's almost more like aerobics, which is great. And then you go to another class and it's way more about
Like
connecting.
Kundalini yoga.
Kundalini, or something else. It's about connecting to the energy in your body and really feeling it move as you do the movements, and breath is extremely powerful and important, and they kind of enable you to start learning ways that you can incorporate it practically into your life, not just when you're doing yoga, the poses. So even within that, there's so much variety.
Wow, it's just amazing. So much out there to be able to learn and be exposed to and integrate into our lives. We just have to have that intention to find out and have that determination to incorporate. Tell us a little bit more about the sessions, like we were talking earlier in the other show, that one session in Thailand is considered 9 to 12 hours versus our traditional one session here, 50 minutes. I thought that was an interesting statistic.
Yeah, so in Thailand, Dr. James, who I studied with again, he's part of the 900-year-old lineage, which I'm also part of. He learned from the monks in the 70s and 80s, and traditionally for them, one session was 9 to 12 hours. Here it's like you go in, massage envy, 50 minutes in and out.
In and out, right,
you know?
right.
And it's just a completely different aspect and understanding of what are you going in for? Why? What's your intention? There it's like, okay, I'm here, I'm ready to get healed. So sometimes it takes multiple therapists, multiple modalities within Thai yoga of what you need. So when the most beneficial is when I work with a client using what he learned in Thailand and incorporated into his system called Somaveda Integrated Therapies. And it's a system where that 9 to 12 hours is put over 7 sessions.
Wow.
So within that, massage, for example, Swedish massage, you learn 5 techniques in school. In Thai yoga, there's over 1,000.
That's amazing.
So there's so much to work with.
And that's what you've been certified in those.
Yeah. Under his style, some of it integrated therapies from that lineage. I've learned, and I do trainings several times a year.
So yeah, tell us a little bit about your website so we can tell our viewers how they can get a hold of you.
Okay. My website is www.thaiyoga.info. And you can also call me, 813-708-8595. If you want to find out about the trainings that I do. I teach massage therapists, yoga teachers, personal trainers, family members who want to learn this to do on themselves. And again, you can call me to know the specifics about it. I'm doing a 10-day training later in the year at a beach house, and it's going to be awesome.
So you got to keep in touch with Lydia
August, September time.
Through her website, yeah.
And on my website, it does say I live in Dunedin. That's where my location used to be, but it's actually in St. Pete. So again, you can email me, my name, Lydia, Lydia, @thaiyoga.info.
Wonderful. So that we can
information.
Definitely get more information on what you're doing and connect with you. And I know a lot of our viewers are impressed, amazed. I know Lucielle is about to fall asleep. We may have to wake her up. But it's just been such a pleasure, Lydia. Thank you so much again for being part of our show and helping us get healthy and vibrant through what you teach and your spiritual gifts. I mean, you're just an amazing person, and we're grateful that you were able to come and share that with us tonight.
And thank you for this platform so that more people can know about Thai yoga or Thai massage. Because I feel like the more people know about it, there's so many people out there that are actually doing it now.
Yes.
And it's, as you can tell, Lucille, it feels great. And the more of us that can know how to do it just with each other in relationships.
Right. Can you imagine
so
what a world?
Different ways of communicating.
Yeah, we can definitely change a lot of things in our world. That'd be wonderful. Yeah. But thank you. Of course, you're definitely coming back again.
Great.
And we can't wait to see you so that you can keep sharing with us. And maybe next time we'll do a little yoga too.
Okay. Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you. Gracias a ustedes por estar con nosotros esta noche. Estamos tan contentos que podemos compartir con Lydia. Y entonces vamos a verlos la semana entrante. Y acuérdense, si quieren más información de este Thai Yoga, vuelvan a visitar nuestro website www.katicatv.com. Muchas gracias por estar con nosotros. Muchos besitos y bendiciones. Y adiós.